It's Saturday morning. It is time for JW's Radio. Welcome back, you guys. Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate all the subscribers as always, and appreciate anybody that's clicked on this video and is here for the Saturday morning radio tune-in, right? I can't believe it is Saturday morning again. It just, every time I turn on the camera to do these videos, I just think, man, 7 days have flown by, or, you know, it's just another week is gone. It's just lightning fast, moves by all too quickly. So, anyway, let me get my phone out in case somebody texts me or calls me. You know, I got another missed call this morning. You know, this, I swear, I've been having, look, let's go through here. Within just the past 3 days, this is within the past 3 days, fellas, I had a 703-988-6387 call. I don't know who that is. A lot of these numbers are just soliciting money, pretending to be somebody, wanting to get money out of you. Here's another one, 888-202-2385. Maybe some of you have had calls from these things. Here's another one that came in this morning. 855-238-3478. Sorry, it's hard to read on this small phone, this small screen. I don't have one of those fancy phones. Sorry, guys. Here's another one that came in. 877-211-0329. That one came in early. So you obviously know they don't know, you know, who they're calling, because if they're calling somebody on their end and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you know. On that note, interesting was on Thursday at work, we got one of those old, just I guess landlines, you know, if people still use those. Well, we do at the shop. Unfortunately, ours doesn't have caller ID. It doesn't have the screen, so we can't really like pick and choose when to answer it. We got to fix that. We got a new phone for that. This person calls up and says, well, we're calling in regarding your website, and, you know, we're here to, you know, can we talk to the owner or manager or somebody that can make those decisions? And I had a little time in the shop. It was a little downtime, so I decided, oh, let's see what this guy's got. And I said, well, I said, you're calling regarding our website. And he says, yep. And I said, so I decided to play with him. I said, well, that's funny. I said, because we don't have a website. And he kind of pumped his brakes a little bit, and he says, oh, well, that's why we're calling you. We want to set up a website for you. I said, oh, so now you want to set up a website instead of regarding something about our website. And I said, you know what, mister? He said, you better get a better line of work, because you don't do this one too well. And, you know, you just might want to, you know, get something else going with yourself. Anyway, it reminded me of that one. I want to say, I think it's The Shootist with John Wayne, where right in the beginning, the guy tries to hold him up. And he says, I want your pocket book with your money or whatever. And John Wayne says, yeah, absolutely. Don't, you know, he pulls it out, and he goes, a little something extra, and he shoots him with a Derringer. And he tells the guy, and the guy says, yo, you done shot a hole in me. He goes, well, that's what you're kind of fixing to do to me, right? And so he gets his book back from the guy, and the guy says, you're just going to leave me here? And he says, well, he goes, you better get a better line of work, mister, because this one sure don't shoot your pistols. Anyway, all right, getting on with it. Get some coffee going. Oh, it is a slow Saturday morning, guys. It's slow for me. All right, it's been a long week. Last time we talked on this, we were talking about Thru Night, getting a Thru Night flashlight. They contacted me, and I'm real timid on this kind of stuff. I don't know, like, you know, it's like when I get these emails sometimes, or these personal messages on the channel, and somebody wants me to do something, and it's like, you know, I kind of, and the reason why is because, you know, another thing about this channel that I like so much, you know, and I love doing this stuff through YouTube, you know, hopefully it comes across in these videos. I like it because I'm able to share and hopefully educate and bring forth some other stuff, you know, that maybe not necessarily everybody has seen, or, you know, help somebody out with a problem. Maybe they'll watch one of my videos and say, hey, you know, I was trying to do that and now I know how to do it. And it's really neat for me to be able to have that content there and it resides there without having to go over it 100 billion times to most of the people that sit there and they kind of go, oh yeah, you're right, and then they get on their phone and start checking their Facebook or something like that, you know. And that happens a lot at work, and so I kind of, in that regard, kind of almost like pick and choose, you know, like if somebody legitimately needs help in the shop, and you know, hey, I'll help them out, you know. So I just don't really willingly come forth with the information, as I say, if that makes sense. Mainly because I just, it's not that I want to be rude or anything, it's because a lot of times I just feel like I'm wasting my time, you know, I'm wasting my breath and energy to go through this, you know, things about what they're, you know, but legitimate, I need help kind of stuff, you know, hey, that's great. And that brings it back to this YouTube channel, is I get to do the video, put it out there, it's on the channel. I don't, you know, and so many people can refer to it, and hey, you know, if they really need the help, they'll sit there and look at it. If they don't, they'll just, yeah, whatever, you know. And that's great, because then it just, the channel does the work. The channel's there, it's producing the content, it's there, you know. So that's kind of where I stand on that, you know, if all that makes sense to you. Anyway, so when this company contacted me, I kind of, you know, was like, well, you know, I don't know. I don't want to, you know, do too much of, you know, this. I don't know exactly what they want out of it. So, and I have not really done too much flashlight stuff, although I need to get a flashlight. So the only flashlights I really got that I use a lot is my Nebo light that I got from the winnings from the Gun Enthusiast. He's got a really cool channel, and you know, for me to win a giveaway that was from him, and you know, I've never really won anything, you know, so to win something from the gun community here on YouTube, it meant that much more. So anyway, I'm dragging it on. Thru Night. So they contacted me the last time we spoke, and I kind of almost, you know, took it with a light grain of salt. I said, well, let's see if something even shows up. So, and it did. So we got the Thru Night TI3, and when I got it in the mail, I actually opened it up and I said, man, this is kind of is this for real? There it is. Yes, it is. It's not much bigger, per se, than a AA battery. When I saw it, I was like, wow, this thing is, I don't know, you know. Anyway, it holds a AAA battery. I loaded it in and turned it on, and to my surprise, it let me see here. Yeah, look at that. Okay, I was actually surprised that, you know, here's the low setting, I believe, and then here's the next setting, and oh yeah, it has a strobe. Forgot about that. Oh yeah, here's the low setting. I'm sorry. Okay, let's start again. Here's the low setting, the next, and then the big one. Oh, there. Okay. All right. It's enough blinding you, right? But this little, you know, amazing, amazing, absolutely amazing. So, all right, let's get well, we got two little cool items, two pistols that I want to show you and talk to you about. So anyway, we will be doing some videos with this. As they contacted me, they asked me, and I said, hey, well, what do you want out of this thing? You know what? And I'm going to be brutally honest with you on the channel. Of course, when we do the video, I'm going to be honest. We're going to do just a review, basically. Like, I'm going to give you a close-up HD look at this thing and all that. And go outside, and you know, I thought, well, you got to test this thing in the dark, you know, that's when you're going to be using it, right? Well, for the most part. So, and then amongst other things, I want to do some testings with them, maybe, you know, see how it shows up on camera, some of the other ideas I had floating around. And the other video they want is a torture test. Durability. How durable is this little gadget, this little flashlight? So I'm kind of curious because, you know, I've not had too much experience with flashlights. My dad always had flashlights. I just used his, and then you know, as a kid, probably misplaced it, and he got really upset. Anyway, comes in this cool little tin and everything like that. So that is up on the list of things to do on the main channel. All right, here we go. Let's talk about some of these guns. What do we got? What do we got in here? Let's open it up. And boy, some of you already know what it is when you look at it. This is a Colt Python. It's a 4-inch barrel. These things are beautiful, and they are rather expensive these days. Now, you know, I get this question a lot, quite often. They say, you know, boy, you know, how did you even afford these things? Well, I bought them. I've had them for a while, and I really just when I bought them, it was not cheap either. I think you know, we're talking about, you know, $1,200 and, you know, $1,300 and whatnot. You know, to me, that he goes, you know, this is something you're going to make money on. And I was rather kind of you know, just kind of getting started in collecting. You know, I had a bunch of stuff already, you know, but this was the big leap for me, because that was a lot of money for me, you know, that I didn't have that kind of money just handing it, you know, in cash, you know. So I could have gone to, you know, to empty out the savings and everything and get them right away, but him being a really good friend, a close friend, I've known him for a long time. He's an older fella, and I learned a lot from him. And that goes back to a couple radio shows ago where I said, you know, you can learn a lot from older people because they've been on that field a lot longer than you have. And to disrespect your elders and brush them off, you know, that's totally just not right. And I've always went up to, whenever he went to take time to tell me something or explain something to me, I made sure I was all ears and I listened to him, and I went in it with an empty cup, and sort of say, because you want to get filled up with the knowledge. Anyway, I was really grateful he shared a lot of that with me. So I went ahead and said, okay, and we worked out a deal. Basically, I said, well, you know, if you allow me to, you know, drop off some money every paycheck that I can, and he was more than gracious about that. So eventually I got it, and I've held it on, and I've got it in a safe, and it just kind of stayed in the safe. So anyway, the other one here in question, and we'll talk about that one. This one deserves a story of a gun. Oh, did we shrink it? Did we shrink the gun? What happened there? Let's make sure, okay? Even though they're safe queens, always check and sure, be safe. All right, we get excited and we don't check them, right? Did I shrink the gun? No, you were looking at a smaller version of a Python. It's Colt. It's called a Diamondback. For those of you that don't know, this is the D frame of the Colt series, and this is the I frame. I believe that's the way they go. Okay, so the D frame is a little bit smaller. It's on the same frame size as a Colt Detective Special, for those of you that have that beauty. I got one too. It's tucked away in the safe. I should get it out one day and do a video with it for you. But this is the 4-inch barreled Colt Diamondback 38 Special. This one's the Python's in .357 Magnum, so this one's scaled down a little bit. They can do the 38, and that's it. Versus the Python can do 38 and .357 Magnum. That's the beauty of owning a .357 Magnum. All right, same thing, everything. You got the underlug, you got the beautiful rib on the top, all that kind of stuff on it. And of course, actually, the reason I bought this is because of John Wayne and the movie Brannigan. That's why I bought it. My favorite scene in that movie was where he goes into the. If you haven't seen it, check that movie out. That's a really cool movie. He's a cop from Chicago, goes over to London, and he's there to get the prisoner Largan, I believe that's who it is, and. So he's in there talking to Scotland Yard in this gentleman's club, no women allowed. Wouldn't you think? Anyway, so he's sitting there. He says, Lieutenant, the Scotland Yard guy says to John Wayne, he says, you shouldn't be wearing that particular item. And he says, "Oh, you mean the tie?" He goes, "The front door, the guy at the front door said I had to." He goes, "Not the tie, the 38 caliber Colt Diamondback you have there." And he looks it down, he sees it, and John Wayne says, "Well, I work," he says, "well, the British fella says it places you under violation of Scotland Yard rules." And he says, "Well, I work under the Chicago Police Department, which makes carrying this obligatory." And so the guy says, "Well, it's Richard Attenborough that is actually the other guy. Great actor. He was. I love him in the Great Escape." But he says, he goes, "Well, then I strongly urge you, any temptation, to resist any temptation to using it." John Wayne goes, "I don't think I'll be needing it in here." Oh my God, I love that movie. It is such a great movie. I love all those movies. In a sense, you look at it, and I've actually been asked this question because it was noted that John Wayne actually turned down the role of Dirty Harry. And, it's kind of a bittersweet thing, in a sense, because you look at it and you're like, well, if he would have taken that role, what would it have been, And if Clint didn't get it, where would have Clint been? And what and obviously that the role spawned it, or that movie got five different 4 sequels basically, in a sense. John Wayne was getting older at that time, and so maybe he I don't know, it kind of goes back for me, it's like, so I'm glad, in a sense, like I said, it's bittersweet, and just trying to figure out how to word this. He didn't take it. John Wayne didn't take it, but then we got 2 other great movies out of him as a police officer, instead of your usual cowboy that you see him as. You got McHugh, which is a great movie. He has a lot of, he just changes guns in that movie like crazy, and you get to see a whole heck of a lot of cool guns, from Pythons to Smith & Wesson Model 10s to a Browning High Power to a what? Come on, you guys seen that movie, right? A Mac 10, and he just blows away the bad guys in the end. So anyway, and then you got Brannigan, and Brannigan, I have a video where I called it Colt Diamondback and Brannigan, John Wayne. Check it out. It's in my Hollywood playlist. And the beginning of that movie, where they just show the gun all close up and everything, it just makes you you're just like drooling. Anyway, back to the main subject of all this before we get. See, that's what happens. You mentioned John Wayne to me, and everything goes out the window, because that's all we start talking about. All right. The collectability, that's what we're really, the topic of this whole section of this radio, is when it was told to me, you got to get on that wagon at some point if this is a gun that you're going to want and collect. And for me, that was really hard to accept, because it was like, man, well, I don't have that kind of money. But I will tell you this. I'm glad I sacrificed, and I'm glad I had a friend that was willing to work with me on that. Without him, I wouldn't have been able to own them. With him working with me and saying, well, yeah, okay, I'll take a payment, whenever you can. So, and that he did. And so, on both my Pythons. This one I did not get from him. This one I got from my favorite place that my bank account does not like me to go. Gunbroker. I'll share that as a story of a gun sometime, since we're kind of on that, back on that again. But, I'm glad he did, because, and, like I said, those words where he said, you gotta, if this is a gun that you're gonna want, you gotta get on that wagon at some point. With looking at Gunbroker and the auctions now, and seeing the prices of these things going up there in the $2,000 to $3,000 range, it does blow my mind, because I'm like, I never, honestly, when I bought them, I didn't think, he even joked around with me. He said, you watch, he's like, he bought that gun, and then next year the thing is going to be $3,000 or something. I said, yeah, right. I still was not all that, knowledgeable on it. I didn't quite know exactly what I was buying, but I just knew it was super cool. Anyway, seriously, on that note, when I look at the auctions now, it's like, wow, like, I can't believe the price of those things. That just, and it's well out of my range. There's no way I could right now with the shoestring budget I'm on. I mean, no way I can't buy a $3,000 firearm. You know, hey, anybody with deeper pockets, then that to them it's nothing. But anyway, it starts to begin to the point where you start looking at the things where it's like, is it worth it? Is it the price? I'm kind of curious myself if the price will exceed 3,000. That is the most expensive I've seen, is $3,000, and that was something that was pretty darn, in perfect shape. We're saying the ones that have a little wear on it, like this one has a little wear on it. This one's probably, as he told me, it was probably carried by a police officer, more than likely. So it's got a little holster wear. It has been fired. That was another thing that intrigued me on it. I wanted something to shoot. And of course, Magnum Force, my favorite Dirty Harry movie, the motorcycle cops, that's what they're carrying, the 4-inch barrel Python. But that's why I wanted to shoot it. But in the ones that in this condition are still going for the near 2,000 or at 2,000. So it's pretty amazing to see it jump that much in my book. I mean, that's a whole nother gun price, in a sense. So if this is something, if collectible guns is something you want to get in on, it's like you gotta, before you wait too late, too long, because the longer you wait, the more the price jumps. There's a lot of things that, when I first started buying guns, I wish I would have bought instead of buying some of the other guns I bought, but I didn't know all that much, and now look, the prices are, either doubled or tripled. And there's a lot of things that I wish I would have bought, and one of those things is I had an opportunity to buy a Belgium-made Browning High Power that was completely, one of those collectible ones, rich bluing on it like the Python and everything like that. And I passed on it, and I probably could have got it for a lot less of a price than they're going for now. But that one is the collectible one, because it's all made in Belgium. It's not like usually now the ones you see, it says made in Belgium, assembled in Portugal. Those aren't as desirable as the 100%, I guess, Belgium made ones. Where the wood grips, now I've always laughed at those grips because to me they look like cabinet panels. But now I'm probably gonna get all the Browning guys upset at me. But anyway, you take those grips off and look at the backs of them, they're red. And that's the other thing about the collectability. Those are all these little tips, and then of course the serial number will have like a T or a C, and all of those mean something. They call it the T prefix, the C prefix, or the T series or whatever. The other thing is the hammer. Now I'm just kind of winging it here. I believe, I could be very wrong, I believe the ring hammer, the one with the circle through it that looks like a donut, I believe that's more collectible than the spur hammer. So the spur hammer meaning, something like this. So, I still kick myself, but yeah, it's alright. One day I'll find one. I used to have an FEG made Browning High Power. It was imported by Hungary. And I must say on that note, I've done a few reviews of it. I wound up selling it to a friend of mine. I can always still do a video with it anytime I want, which is neat. But, I paid like $300 for that gun, or, something like that off a gun broker. And it worked great. It worked fine. It's exactly what I wanted it for, as a range gun and everything like that. So, so anyway, yeah, well, let's close out the radio show here. Let's get it closed out, and we'll catch everybody next Saturday. Don't forget to tune in. So, hope you had fun. Hopefully it wasn't too boring this time around. Got a little flashlight, talked about the guns and everything like that. So we'll get some more stuff going on, rolling for the next time. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this stuff. I really appreciate it. All the support the channel gets, definitely appreciate it. Anyway, like, share, and subscribe as always, and tune in for the next radio show.